breaking down how this New Orleans Saints passing offense will improve and a look at just how good this New Orleans Saints defense really is. We've got all that and a little bit of lagniappe for you as WWL TV's Doug Mouton joins this episode of Locked On Saints.
You are Locked On Saints, your daily New Orleans Saints podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is good, Who Dat Nation and Who Dat family? Welcome into this Film Watch Wednesday episode of Locked On Saints, your daily podcast covering the New Orleans Saints, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, thank you so much for making us your first listen. Remember, we're free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. I am your host, Ross Jackson, at Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter, Canal Street Chronicles, Locked On NFL, and here with you every single Monday through Friday on Locked On Saints. On today's episode, I want to get started with the New Orleans Saints passing attack. Jameis Winston, this Saints offense, has yet to pass for more than 200 yards, and you shouldn't be concerned about it at all. There's a couple of different reasons why. Of course, there's the identity that we've talked about over the course of this week so far. This is a defensive team that wants to focus on running the ball. Doug Mouton's going to give us a little nugget about why that's not new. This is very much what the Saints were doing back in 2020 as well. However, they were producing a little bit more in the passing game. But does this all really come down to Michael Thomas, right? Is Michael Thomas really the only missing piece for this New Orleans Saints passing offense in order for it to get back on track? I can't say that I believe that. I think as I've watched through and watched the film, and you've seen a lot of different film studies floating around all over Twitter, and a lot of folks are coming to the same conclusion here. There are a lot of things that still have to get right before this Saints passing offense can really begin to take off. And the New Orleans Saints having the opportunity to lean on the run game could not come at a better time, because some of the different things that end up hindering this passing offense so far for the team could be detrimental if you didn't have a run game to fall back on. For instance, yes, a lot of folks have talked about the wide receivers and their inability to create separation. You've seen an average of 2.3 yards of separation per snap when it comes to, or at least per target, when it comes to Marquez Callaway. That's pretty standard for New Orleans Saints wide receivers. Last year, you didn't see much more of that from guys like Emmanuel Sanders. And then, of course, Michael Thomas over the course of his career. If he's got one step, he's open. So the ball was always going to him regardless of separation. But it doesn't mean that it's only going to take that one player to come back and fix everything for the Saints. Will it help? Sure, you have a reliable option that you can go to over and over and over again, and somebody that's going to draw double teams, brackets, things like that. That might open up opportunities for other receivers, but it doesn't stop at receiver separation for the issue when it comes to the passing offense for the Saints. There's a bigger issue that comes along with it that thankfully the New Orleans Saints haven't been fully hampered by in the run game. And of course, it's the protection up front from the offensive line. As you would imagine, you lose Eric McCoy, you shift Cesar Ruiz over to center, and you have Calvin Throckmorton making his first pair of starts in his NFL career over at the right guard position. You're going to have some trouble in the interior. The Saints have given up a good bit of pressure right up the middle. Now, there's a couple of reasons why this is important. First of all, pressure up the middle is immediate pressure, meaning that no matter how open your wide receivers are getting in the offense, if that pressure is coming from up the middle, you're losing a throwing lane, a major throwing lane, and you're immediately being pressured so you don't have the opportunity to be able to deliver passes on time. Remember, one of the things that we've seen from the New Orleans Saints so far, even with Jameis Winston under center, is a predication of the offense in the short and intermediate passing attacks. That has not changed. Now, does this offense have the ability to open up an attack downfield and take the top off the defense? Absolutely. Of course it does. But everything is predicated on the usual conservative, quote unquote, offense of the New Orleans Saints. That is not changing. But what is required in order for that offense to be most efficient and most effective is timing. And that's why that interior pressure becomes such a hindrance to being able to get this passing attack off the ground, because you don't have the timing that you need. You want to be able to take a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop, a 7-step drop, and then throw the ball off of your hitch. it's hard to do that when you're also having to scramble left or right to avoid the pressure that's coming right up the middle. So the interior offensive line for the New Orleans Saints so far are a concern. Yes, some pressure has come off the edges as well, but for the majority of the point, Ryan Ramczyk as well as Teron Armstead have been steady enough that you don't have too much to worry about over there. Now, you just lost Teron Armstead, so we'll see how James Hurst holds up, but he performed pretty well against the New England Patriots in their win, in the New Orleans win in Boston. We'll see how he holds up against the New York Giants. But for the Giants, they're going to focus on bringing pressure up the middle with Leonard Williams, who led that team in sacks last season, and of course, Dexter Lawrence, who they're trying to figure out a way to convert his pressures to sacks as well in his young career. So that interior pressure is going to be something to keep an eye out on. Now, you have the separation issues that sometimes happen for the Saints. You also have the interior pressure or pressure being given up by the offensive line that sometimes overlaps with reps where you are getting separation from the receivers, but not able to take advantage of it. Sometimes it doesn't matter how many pressures you give up. An ill-timed pressure can take away a play immediately, and that's where you start to see passes to the flats, dump-offs, things like that. There's also a little bit going on with Jameis Winston here, and this is something that we expected to see at the beginning of the season. Jameis Winston does not want to be a turnover-prone quarterback, and so there are going to be times, particularly early on in this system, when there's not the full stretch of trust there just yet for him and the targets that he's targeting downfield, whether they be tight ends, wide receivers, what have you. There are going to be times where maybe something is a little bit more open on tape than it looks like to him on the field, and he might not be willing to risk that and wants to play risk-averse instead, and therefore dumps it off. I don't think that that's going to become a part of Jameis Winston's identity. You'll see him as this offense begins to get more comfortable all together, not only for Jameis, but the offensive line, the wide receivers and the tight ends, of course, that are catching these passes as well. Once everybody gets more comfortable, you'll start to see a little bit more of those over-the-top, high-variance throws that end up turning into big plays in a Sean Payton system. But the risk aversion is something that is real and does make sense. Jameis Winston wants to be a game manager. He wants to protect the football, and early on in the season, sometimes that's going to translate to not pulling the trigger on certain throws, but we'll see that trust get there and develop over time. How many steps is enough separation that once all that starts to get figured out, more of these passing lanes and passing opportunities begin to open up. So I think that those three things are the things that allow you to be able to improve in the passing game. Trust, buying the time that you need, and getting the timing right with these receivers. That all takes reps. Regardless of the fact that Jameis Winston has been in the NFL for as long as he has, this is his first year as a starter in this system, running these plays and making these play calls. That is going to take time. Same thing for when you have a guy shifting over to center, when you have a guy shifting over at left tackle, and when you're down your first and second wide receivers. But thankfully, these things that could kill an offense altogether aren't doing so right now because you have an Alvin Kamara, you have a Tony Jones Jr., you have the ability to be able to run the football with a genius head coach making the play calls for you. So the Saints, in a good situation, though they'll still be looking to get that passing game going, but it's 100% possible for them to do it, and all hope is not lost in that category. Speaking of all hope is not lost, if there's anything that gives you hope, it's the New Orleans Saints defense. But how good are they really? I'll give you everything that you need to know about this Saints defense as we continue on with today's episode. But first, I want to give you everything you need to know about where to put your money down for the New Orleans Saints or against the New Orleans Saints this week, depending upon how you're feeling about their -8 spread in favor of them at home over the New York Giants. And that is, of course, with our friends over at BetOnline.ag. This is expected to be a bit of a low-scoring game, about a 42-point over-under. So you're looking for the Saints to maybe be able to walk away here in terms of what Vegas is expecting with like a 25-17 type of victory. Not a bad margin for the New Orleans Saints in their first home action since 2020. Very excited for them to be back at home and in the Superdome, and for all of you to be able to cheer them on. And while you're cheering them on, you can have a little bit more fun and excitement by getting in on the action over at betonline.ag. Don't forget to use the promo code NFL100 to get a 100% welcome bonus on your first deposit as a new customer. Put $100 down, get an extra $100, then you got $200 to put down on the Saints or across any of the sports or any of the Vegas casino games that BetOnline has to offer. Whatever you need, they've got you covered. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. And speaking of having you covered, we're all getting back out on the road, which means we're all spending money on gas, but I'm going to help make this a little bit easier for you. Get 25 cents per gallon back at the tank when you fill up with the Get Upside app, GETUPSIDE. You can find it over on the Apple Store or Google Play, whatever it is. It's a free app. You can find it there. And if you use the promo code Touchdown, you're going to get a little bit of a bonus here from Locked On as well. That's going to give you 50 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. So don't wait any longer. $200, $300 a month coming back to some folks. Go and check them out. And when you get that, you can get that payout back to your bank account. You can get it set to your PayPal. You can even get Amazon gift cards or other brands as well. So go check it out. Get Upside app. Go download the free app today and start getting 25 cents per gallon back on your fill-ups right now. All right, family, continuing on with today's episode of Locked On Saints, and thank you once again for making us your first listen of the day here on the show. We are available free and on all platforms. Make sure you come and check out the YouTube channel as well. Like, subscribe, do all the good stuff to help us out. And of course, don't forget to leave those 5-star reviews as well. We appreciate all of that. So I want to talk about this New Orleans Saints defense because good Lord, is it good. Like, I just want to cut to the chase. This defense is remarkable right now. We're going to talk about why and all of that, but I want to talk about from the numbers, breaking it down, how good they are. We're watching the tape. First of all, they're a ton of fun to watch. You have a guy like CJ Gardner-Johnson who can cover, who can rush the passer. He's speed to power, transfer, bulldozing, bull rushing. That's what I was looking for. Over offensive lineman for the New England Patriots, beating tight ends around the corner to get into the backfield, to get the sack, some tackles for a loss. Who is playing in the NFL right now better on the defensive side than Demario Davis? Marshon Lattimore, an absolute stud out there. 4 catches allowed for 42 yards, but a lot of that coming in like the off coverage situations. Had the interception to seal the game, a 19.0 passer rating when targeted on Sunday up against Mac Jones. Marcus Williams just continues to take plays away over and over and over again over the middle of the field. Quarterbacks are afraid to target Marcus Williams at this point. He is making them look away from him. Malcolm Jenkins, 7th pick 6 of his career on Sunday. And then, of course, you have Paulson Adebo, who's played extremely well also and has been holding on to that starting role opposite Marshon Lattimore, despite the fact that the Saints traded for veteran Bradley Roby. You now have Paulson Adebo, who's gone out there and played at least 99% of snaps every game so far this season as a third-round rookie who missed his final season of college in 2020 when he opted out and had his 2019 end early. He's just been absolutely remarkable and deservingly so, hanging on to that starting role opposite Marshon Lattimore, which maybe is something we should be talking about more. But Bradley Roby got 2 snaps against the New Orleans Saints. And it's not because there's anything wrong with Bradley Roby. It's because everything has been pleasantly right with Paulson Adebo. And obviously, I'm very happy about that for sure. But when it comes down to this Saints defense, let's take a look at them as a whole as opposed to just the individual performers. I didn't even get to Tano Passanio. You had Cam Jordan get 9 pressures, 6 hurries in this game for the New England Patriots. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch, that Saints defensive line that continues to be crafty and shifty and continues to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. But when it comes to the Saints right now, they're allowing a third down conversion percentage of only 36%. That's very good. You want to see that low. They're very successful so far in the red zone as well, with a couple of red zone takeaways and a couple of red zone stops, which has been very helpful. Let's take a look at some other metrics as well. The Saints right now 15th in the NFL when it comes to passing yardage, which isn't fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It puts them right in the middle of the pack. But let's look at some of the other things that factor in. 3rd lowest passer rating when targeted, this New Orleans Saints defense as a whole in the NFL, and the 6th lowest completion percentage allowed as well, with only a 61.3 completion percentage against. So even when you are passing for a bunch of yards, you're seeing fewer completed passes. You're seeing the passes that are completed at a lesser quality, hence the lower passer rating. And you're seeing takeaways, quality takeaways by this team so far that are either because of the pass rush. We saw that with the Paulson Adebo interception as well as the PJ Williams interception, or just because of good coverage, being in the right place at the right time. You'll take those as well. Hello, Malcolm Jenkins with the pick 6. But I think you'll take all of that because this team right now, presently, is tied for first in the NFL in turnover differential with a +5. That's the way the New Orleans Saints want to play. They want to turn the ball over, run the ball, keep it on the ground, all of that. And they've done it very, very well so far this season. And they've limited the run game over on the other side of the ball as well. 3rd in the NFL when it comes to the best rush defense in the NFL, allowing only 60.3 rushing yards per game thus far. They've been absolutely outstanding there, allowing only an average of 2.8 yards per carry, which is second best in the NFL as well. And not for lack of trying, because they have been run on 181 times as well. So they're being met with the challenge, and so far they're rising to that challenge all the way. This New Orleans Saints defense, y'all, is for real, and it's about to get much better because it was good, but now it's about to get great because of the home field advantage that this New Orleans Saints team has yet to be able to take advantage of for over a year now. And I think that that is one of the things that we cannot state. And I know I've said it a bunch, and I'm going to continue to repeat it because I think it is truly the most important thing going into this game up against the New York Giants. We're going to be visiting with Patricia Traina tomorrow. We've already recorded that episode, just full transparency for you. That has been a big part of the conversation, something she's concerned about, something the Giants are concerned about. The Superdome is going to be raucous, and I cannot wait for it because the Saints defense is the real deal, and you get to see it live and in person on Sunday up against the New York Giants, who are struggling to put points on the board. Speaking of, by the way, the New Orleans Saints, 14 points per game allowed so far in the in this young NFL season. So far they are keeping points off the board, and I think that that is a big deal. Just looking for points per game here right now. So far, the Saints third in the NFL there. The only teams better than them, the Carolina Panthers, allowing 10 per game, and the Denver Broncos. Shout out Teddy Bridgewater and the defense that's helping him out as well while he's out there just succeeding right now in Denver, allowing 8.7 points per game. But you'll take that for the New Orleans Saints right there, third from the bottom. This Saints defense, y'all, it's the real deal. And you know who else is the real deal? Doug Mouton of WWL TV. He's going to be with us here in just a second, talk more about the Saints offense and defense, and start to look ahead to the New York Giants as we continue on with today's episode of Locked On Saints. But first, I want to tell you about our good friends over at BuiltBar.com, the best tasting protein bar on the market. Don't make any sacrifices when it comes to the protein bar of your choosing. No more compromises there. You want flavor, you want protein, you want low sugar. Built Bar is the solution. You don't have to take two of the three anymore. You even get high fiber and low in calories. So I'm about 130 to 180 calories, 17, 18 grams of protein, only 4 or 5 grams of sugar and net carbs, and high in fiber. These protein bars are incredible because in addition to all of that, you get fantastic flavor as well. Cookie dough chunk right now is absolutely off the charts. It's so good. Even better out of the refrigerator. Same thing for mint brownie. Peanut butter brownie is really good out the fridge too. I love these protein bars. Really, any way that you want to hand them off to me. So go and check them out. Grab a sample box. Get 2 of all 9 of their standard flavors and check out their limited edition flavors that pop up all the time as well over at BuiltBar.com. And don't forget to use the promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off. That's promo code LOCKED15 at BuiltBar.com. All right, everybody, we are continuing on with today's episode of Locked On Saints. And of course, it is Wednesday, which means it is WWL Wednesday. And we've got one of our absolute favorites back here with us, Doug Mouton at DMouton WWL on Twitter, sports director for WWL TV. Doug, thanks so much for coming back to us, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you, Ross?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. I am always happy to see you, and I'm very excited about this matchup coming up next for the New Orleans Saints returning home to the Dome. But before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about the Saints and the Patriots, the win for New Orleans on the road. Let's start off with the offense here. A little bit of struggles in the passing game. Still no 200-yard passing game for Jameis Winston, but doesn't seem to be slowing down the New Orleans Saints at all when it comes to putting points on the board.
No, look, this was their recipe in 2020. In 2020, the Saints discovered that as Drew Brees could put the ball downfield, they better run it more. You talk about running for 130 yards in a game. To me, that's sort of one of the watermarks. If you can run for 130, you're going to be hard to beat. Now, in 19, when they were throwing the ball well, they only ran for 130 yards twice in the entire season. Last year, because they couldn't throw it as well downfield, they ran for 130 plus 8 times. It was more of a philosophical change than anything else on offense, but it plays to their strength. It plays to Alvin Kamara. It plays to the blocking tight ends. Just all up. Plays to Ryan Ramczyk. And so this year, you've already seen in 3 games, they've done it twice already, so they're even over that halfway mark. I think running the ball, they've discovered it is part of the identity of this team. Sean Payton told Alvin Kamara during the week, because Kamara quoted this last Wednesday or Thursday. He said, Peyton wanted to win the running battle, and the Saints did. It was 142 to the Patriots had 49. The Saints won the running battle. And yes, Jameis Winston, interesting game, but he did make a bunch of good throws. The first drive of the game, the touchdown drive, he had a 3rd and 10 to Deontay Harris on that game-clinching drive. He had a 3rd and 7 to Deontay Harris. He made a bunch of throws, but you're right. The passing game is far from complete at this point.
Yeah, I think you're going to see it continue to fall into rhythm, but the Saints might have a little bit of a disruption there. Teron Armstead expected to miss somewhere between 3 to 6 games. How do you expect that to impact this Saints offense?
Well, look, they're going to try to do the things that they do without him. He's an elite left tackle. He's as good as it gets. And I know he's had some injury issues over the years, but when he plays, he's literally as good as it gets. Unbelievably athletic, light on his feet, good in the run, good in pass protection. I will say this. I do think the Saints are going 7th. Calvin Throckmorton has done a solid job. James Hurst is a solid player. He's not Teron Armstead, but he's a solid player. I think this offensive line can go 7 deep without any major drop off. The problem is now they're at their cap. They lose an offensive lineman now, and I think the drop off is going to be drastic to whoever becomes the 8th guy. Gotten away with 7. And you'll get McCoy and Armstead back, so hopefully nobody goes up before they come back. I think they'll be able to weather this storm. Look, they're getting the Giants at a good time, and then the football teams at a good time, and then the bye week. So hopefully by the end of the bye, we can get McCoy and Armstead back and be back to full strength.
Let's go over to the defensive side of the ball. And Doug, it's a very simple question. How good is this defense right now?
Yeah, you know what? I think that's what we're all trying to figure out. Okay, one, I think Demario Davis, 3 games in, might be the defensive MVP in the NFL. He's that good. He's not just a Pro Bowler, not even just an All-Pro. He is, I think, as good as any single. And I know you can make cases for Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack and a lot of guys, but I think Demario Davis is on that level for what he does against the run, in pass coverage, rushing the passer, just his recognition and his smarts and his leadership. He is literally as good as any defensive player in the league. The secondary, they got Gardner Johnson back. They got Lattimore back. You saw what a difference they made. Malcolm Jenkins is off to a great start. Marcus Williams is off to a great start. But all those things, the biggest pleasant surprise is the pass rush. Tano Passanio has been unbelievably good. Malcolm Roach and the guys inside have been good. They're missing David Onyemata, who is an elite inside NFL player. And the defense right now looks like a top 5 defense in the NFL. That's saying a lot this early with the questions at that second cornerback spot. I don't think we've discovered how good they are yet. Obviously you find that out over time, but man, they're not licking their chops against the Giants right now. That group is good.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants dealing with some injuries over the offensive side, on the offensive line, at wide receiver, 2 hamstring injuries for Darius Slayton, as well as Sterling Shepard. So, look, this New Orleans Saints defense has got to be looking ahead to this game against the New York Giants, ready to get ready for this one. And we're talking about how good the defense is. How much better does this defense get with a full Superdome for the first time since January 5th of 2020?
Yeah, Sean Payton talks about it a lot, the difference that crowd makes. That crowd in the Superdome can be, and usually is, electric in a way that few stadiums are. I would never say it's the only stadium that's like that. There are several, and on the college football circuit, there are several, but it is one of the great home field advantages at any level of football in the United States. The Saints talk about it all the time, and it's not lip service to the fans. It is legit. That place is loud, and it makes a difference, and it should be all those things this week, and it's been so long since we felt it.
Yeah, absolutely. As the Saints get into this game up against the Giants this weekend, just a quick preview before you wrap up here. Do you expect to see more of the same defensive football and then trying to win in the ground game? Or do you think maybe this passing game has the opportunity to open up a little bit in New Orleans?
Well, look, they have dialed up some shot plays. They haven't always gone to them. I do think running the ball is going to be their formula, at least for the next 6-8 weeks. I see.
Sure.
Look, here's the thing about Jameis Winston. I think Jameis Winston can be a really good quarterback in Sean Payton's offense, but I also think he is not there yet. And you've got to win games while you get him there. And I think the way you do that is you run it as much as possible. I don't think you'll see Alvin Kamara get 27 touches again. I think if the Saints get ahead, you're going to see a lot more of Tony Jones. And you saw Tony Jones early. It's like Sean Payton wanted to use him. Man, with that game in doubt and a chance to win in Foxborough, I don't blame Payton one iota for giving it to Kamara 27 times. You cut him back when you can, but you don't pass up a chance to win a game like that just to keep the pitch count down on your superstar. I do expect to see him run the ball a lot. Look, winning the running game and winning turnovers, or at least not losing turnovers. I did a graphic Monday night from our 4 takeaways. All right, in the last, since 19, the Saints have lost the turnover battle in a game 8 times. They're still 5-3 in those games. They've been even in turnovers 10 times. They're still 6-4 in those games. But they've actually won the turnover battle in a game 17 times between 19, 20, and 21. In those 17 games, they're 16-1. They're good no matter what. They're great when they're just +1 in the turnovers. And the way to do that is to run the ball and play it safe. And it's not the brand of football they were playing in 18 and 17 and in 11 and in 09. It's a different kind of football. Give Sean Payton credit for evolving. It's what this team does well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, it is a winning formula of football in New Orleans right now. Can they keep it up against the New York Giants? We'll be able to check it out on Sunday. And of course, we'll be back here with another WWL Sunday next week. We're going to welcome on our good friend Brooke Kirchhoffer, who's going to come through with us next week. But Doug, we'll be seeing you here again soon. Thanks so much, as always, for coming through for us.
Yeah, anytime, Ross. Happy to do it.
All right, family. Thank you so much once again for making us your first listen of the day here on Locked On Saints. On tomorrow's episode, we're joined by Patricia Traynor. We're going to talk about keys to victory, key matchups to watch, where the Giants might be able to challenge the Saints, and also where the Saints are clearly outmatching the Giants. We'll get to all of that. But for your second listen of the day, go and check out Locked On Bets. Go and win yourself some money this weekend. Get yourself all set up with your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. We'll also be back on Friday for Keys to Victory, Saturday to give you all of the updates when it comes to any player movement or roster changes. And I have a special update for you on Saturday as well that you will not want to miss. So make sure you're hanging out here with us all throughout the weekend. For everything in between, you can follow me on Twitter at RossJacksonNOLA. Hit me up and let me know how the family's doing. Let me know how you're living. Let me know how you're momming them. And trust you, that nation, I'll holla at you.